Hello everyone, I'm Cyrus Webb, host of Conversations Live, editor of Conversations Magazine, and also the host of Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm really excited about this next segment because I'm welcoming back a very good friend of mine to the program. Author Glenda L. Hunter is an author that has not only been able to chronicle her own journey in life, but also been able to inspire people through her story. We're going to talk to her not only about what it's been like for her to write about her life, but also what it's been like for her to encourage others to write as well. Glenda, hello to you and welcome to the show.
Cyrus. Good to be here.
Well, look,
thank you for having me.
What an experience. We were just talking about this before the taping started. I mean, I joke with you all the time about how many books you've written. This is not even all of them that people are seeing here, but what has it been like for you to have published these books, to tell your story, but also be able to inspire other people, and now to know that your books have that power? What has that been like?
It's been amazing to me. When I first published the books, I never dreamed they would have such an impact on other people's lives. I did it as a therapeutic thing for myself, but I find that it has been therapeutic for a number of people. And I encourage people to write because I think it helps them express what's deep inside that they can't say in words to other individuals. And I have written a kids' book encouraging them to write as well.
You know, the thing about that, and we're definitely going to talk about that, because I think what's so great about that is that you're allowing them to know that their stories are important. You know, they don't have to wait till they become older. I mean, what would have happened if you had been encouraged that way, do you think? If you had been encouraged at that age, that, you know, that what you had inside of you was important to share?
Well, I'd have more than these books. I'd have the 29 you tease me about.
Right.
I don't know. I've always enjoyed telling stories, and I've written stories for our children when they was younger. I don't know what would have happened. I would have seriously written more.
Written more books, right. Well, one of the books that actually got a makeover, as well as was re-released, was An Unspeakable Secret, your first book. Why did you feel like this was the time? Because I know people had gotten to know you. I was introduced to you from that book. Why did you think now was the time to not only revise it, but also, of course, to, you know, allow people to see you as they're able to see, you know, I mean, right up front on the cover. What was that experience like for you?
At first, it was very frightful to have me up on the cover, you know, but it kind of tells a story without anybody even opening the book, because I was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, so it has me on the front. I thought it needed revision because someone said it sounds so easy. How you did your recovery and stuff sounds so easy. So I rewrote it in hopes that I could incorporate some of the struggles as well that I had, because it was not easy. It was a journey worth going, but not easy.
Was it difficult for you, because to revise it, of course, you have to go back through it. I mean, was it difficult for you to go back to that place of not only, of course, dealing with the MPD, the multiple personality disorder, but also the abuse and the feelings of self-love, you know, that were missing, and also self-worth that were missing? Was that difficult for you?
It was. It took me a long time to get it revised because I had to keep stopping and gathering myself back up and saying, okay, I'm not that worthless child that I felt like during these events, because that's exactly how I felt. And because when you're abused, you're told you're worthless, and so you incorporate that in your life and you believe that. Or I did.
And now you've been able to, as I said in the beginning of this conversation, Glenda, because of the other books, because of An Unspeakable Secret, by you're telling your own story, you're allowing other people to know, for one thing, they're not by themselves, but also that their lives matter. I mean, could you have imagined that your story, your life, would have that type of power in someone else's life?
No. I never imagined, because I was so convinced I was worth nothing and I would never be anything, that I never thought about it having an impact on anybody's life. But I want people, the reason I wrote my story was to let people know they are not alone. And that has been something I keep saying in some of the writings I do on my website and stuff. I keep saying, you're not alone, you're not alone. And during my struggle, I felt all alone. I felt like no one understood. And people I was coming in contact with hadn't experienced that, which is a good thing for them. But it was not helping me to know that I was not alone.
Exactly. And as I said, now, you know, and even you have shared, you know, you've been able to speak to others. I mean, here you are now speaking at colleges. Here you are going into the classroom. I mean, talk to us about those pinch me moments, about what that's like for you when you're invited to speak at a college, you know, to share part of your story. What goes through your mind in that experience?
When I get that email, it usually comes through email. When I get that, it's wow, again? Are you serious? But I am thrilled that they would allow me to come back, for one, and I feel very humbled that they would think my story is beneficial enough for people to keep hearing. It's a blessing to be able to share for the fact that it helps educate them. It helps people to understand. I talk about them seeing signs of if this person acts this way or this way, you know, you might want to think about that before you criticize, because they might have something in their background you don't even know about.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a thrilling experience.
Yeah. And it's a thrill that will definitely continue as the books do. And we're back with Cyrus Webb Presents. My guest today is Glenda L. Hunter. She's not only the author of several books, as you all can see here, and there's more to come. We'll tell you how you can stay connected with Glenda later. But we're talking to her not only about her story, what it's been like for her to be able to rise above her past, to be able to share her story, and to let other people know something very important. And Glenda, that is that they matter. And you matter. I mean, when you were able to embrace that for yourself, that your life mattered, that you were important, and that you had a purpose, how did that free you?
Well, you know, before it was like being all chained up and you couldn't hardly move. And as I began to realize that I do matter, the chains started falling off. And if you've ever had chains on you, you know they're quite heavy. Yeah. And it just has helped me be able to express myself to other people and to open up to other people. If you don't think you matter, then you don't think anybody else wants to really get to know you.
Exactly. And you've been able to share that not only in An Unspeakable Secret, but you take us through some very difficult times in your life through that book, through your marriage, what that was like for you. And then you allow, of course, your children, your sons, to be able to share as well. You know, do you think by making them a part of the journey, because they are anyway, whether we got to read about them or not, do you think that also was part of the healing for you?
It was, and I think it was a help to our children as well. Mm-hmm. You know, they were young. I think they were 10 and 11 when I started in therapy. And for them to be willing to even answer the questions, I was honored that they would do that for me, because they could be very bitter, because, you know, it took me to go through my journey, it took me out of the house some, because I was in the hospital periodically. And it was not easy. I am sure having another like me probably wouldn't have been anyway, even now. But I was glad that they were a very significant part of my healing.
Yeah, exactly. And faith played a big part in this too for you, as we're able to see in the book, also in your poetry book, Out of the Depths, and I had the privilege of writing the foreword for that one. I mean, did you always know you wanted to share your poetry? I know that you enjoyed poetry. I knew that from An Unspeakable Secret. I mean, but did you always know that eventually you wanted to get to a place where you could share your own journey through poetry?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, I had not planned on that, I guess. And I was flipping through one day and had all these poems, and a friend of mine encouraged me to do that. He said, your whole journey is in your poems, which it is. You know, the rough times and the discovery times of, okay, I can rise above this. Yeah. You know, I think it's all covered in there. Right. But I did not plan that at first.
But, you know, I want people to know, for those who are just hearing about it, especially the poetry book, Out of the Depths, it really is that. You talk about the darkness, but you also push us toward the light. And you've been able to do that in several of your books. Mommy Twinkle Eyes, you do that in, but also the workbook that you did, really, I think, forcing us to realize and to appreciate and understand that we're important, that we're matter, that we're worthwhile, as the title says. You know, talk to us about how you got to that place, because you were able to go from In An Unspeakable Secret, where you didn't see your own value. What was it like for you to then go to do a workbook to encourage other people to see their own value?
I felt like if I had value, then other people, everybody has value. I have always known everybody else has had value. Mm-hmm. I've never accepted that for myself until working through some of this stuff. But I wanted them to know, even no matter what they have in their background, they are still very valuable. You know, if the workbook is done with an open heart and very honestly, I think by the time you're done, you can see that God values you and you should value him. Yeah. That was my hope in the book.
You know, since you mentioned God, we have to talk about faith, because that's also a journey that you took beginning in the book An Unspeakable Secret. Because, you know, you and I have talked about on the radio show before, and even in the magazine, that, you know, for myself, even in my posts sometimes on social media, I'll call God my Heavenly Father. That was difficult for you to get to that place, because unfortunately a part of your abuse was with your dad, with your earthly dad. I mean, what was it like for you to see that you didn't have to just call him that? You could call him a friend, that he could be whatever you needed him to be.
That was very, very freeing, because, you know, I don't know if you realize it when you go to church, you do not, people, I don't think, realize how many times that God is referred to as our Father. Lots of times, it seems like to me. And it was very hard for me to even want to grasp the Holy God because of that fact. I didn't need another father by any stretch. And so, I don't remember how old I was when I read the verse, and it calls God all these different names, friend, counselor, you know, that was an eye-opener, like, whoa, okay, he's more than just a father. He's a friend. I had friends, okay, I can handle that. And so I grabbed a hold of the friend aspect, and nobody has too many friends.
Right.
So I grabbed a hold of the friend aspect and just held on to that always.
Yeah. And what a great thing. And sometimes I think that confidant can be just as important as, you know, as saying Father. You know, I want to say this, Glenda, about you. The reason why I've had such a respect for you and why I wanted you to be a part of this is because your life is a perfect example of how you can not only embrace your gift, but then of course be able to share it with other people. I mentioned you do it of course by writing the books, but now, you know, you're especially targeting the younger audience and being able to let them know, you know what, you can do it. You can do this when it comes to writing. I didn't know, you and I had joked about this. I knew you were going into schools before. I didn't know what you were doing with school. I didn't know what you were doing when you were going into the school. But then you told me, hey, you know, we're writing. So, you know, take us into what led you to write the book for kids, for young kids, about writing.
Well, I have granddaughters that enjoy writing, and they think everybody knows how to do that. And I've talked to some other children, and they're like, do what?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, you know, I just put in writing what I've been teaching the granddaughters, kind of. But it's been it's thrilling to go. I enjoy teaching children. I've always enjoyed teaching children. But it's thrilling to go into the classroom, and I actually take a story that I have written and let them illustrate it. So when they go home, they have a story that on the front of it has their name illustrated by, so that they're a part of a story, so they can know, wow, I can do this. And in my book that I've written for them is telling them how to go about putting the thoughts down, how to describe what's going on. I do put a list of emotion thoughts in there, emotion feelings, so that those are some we struggle with even as adults, to know how to express how we're feeling inside. And children, I'm angry, and they just start hitting, or they're angry, they say I'm angry when maybe they're not. Maybe they're confused, maybe they're wondering, you know. So I think if we can teach them how to express themselves, not only will it give them better communication skills with adults, but I think it will help them to free up some of the stuff inside of them as well. Maybe another author coming, who knows?
Might be some competition for us.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Glenda. Yeah. Again, everyone, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. My guest is author Glenda L. Hunter. Glenda, we're going to take another quick break here. When we come back, we're going to let our viewers know how they can stay connected with you. And also I want to get your encouragement for them about the importance of not only going for their dreams, but not giving up, okay? And we're back with our final segment with author Glenda L. Hunter. We've been talking to her today not only about her journey through words, but also through life, and how she's been able to use her life as an example for others. So what would you say to people, Glenda, out there who maybe have had some bad experiences in their lives, maybe felt as though, you know, they can't see their way out of the darkness? What would you say to them to give them some hope for their own lives?
Well, I would tell them to find somebody to help them out, to help them know where to start in their journey, because sometimes that's the hard thing, to just figure out where to get started, and write. write your thoughts, write down how you're feeling, and just continue to look, get some support people that are positive support people. Because if you have all negative people around you all the time, you're not going anywhere. You need to get some positive support people to help you start on your journey, and to encourage you to keep taking those steps when it's hard to get out of bed, and when it's hard to take another step. And then you need somebody that's going to say, you can do this, you can do this.
Well, they definitely have a great example in you as to what's possible, Glenda. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Again, everyone, author Glenda L. Hunter has been our guest. She has lots of books out there. So, Glenda, you have a website that kind of keeps everything together. Go ahead and give them out that website.
It's author GlendaLHunter.com.
So make sure you all go to her website, stay connected with the great articles she writes there. She also is a contributor for Conversations Magazine. So you all can find her work in the pages of our magazine, as well as online at conversationsmag.com. Again, thank you so much, Glenda, for that. Really appreciate the conversation. And we thank all of you for watching another edition of Cyrus Webb Presents. We hope you all have been able to find something that will be able to inspire you, to motivate you, and help you as you're able to feed your own love of life. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying make it a great one.